Morning. Why is the first sip of coffee so fucking good? Doesn't make any sense, but it is so good. However, I'm trying to cut back on the coffee. Too much caffeine is not good. So we're making cutbacks on the coffee, but it is so good. I have not done a lot of pumpkin spice yet this year, you guys. That one's almond joy. That's like kind of my go-to for creamers is almond joy. But what are we here to talk about today? So I had two different people send me the book bracket for 2023. Do you know what these brackets are? They're really popular in like fantasy football, and they've become really popular on TikTok where you do brackets for movies and characters and books and like they're the bracket where you this guy versus this guy, and then you pick one and then it moves on to the next thing until it's one in the center. You know what it is. And so you're supposed to pick one book from each month. And then in the end, you end up by the end of the year with your favorite book of the year. Coffee and Lore cannot do a book bracket. I cannot do a book bracket. I have sat for probably the last 24, 48 hours with this bracket and tried to make decisions and cuts, even just for the books from January to July. Like, that's where I was like, okay, I'm just going to fill out half of it, and I'm going to, like, make my... I don't think I got through January. Or, no, I think January was tough, but I was able to pick Wish You Were Here, because I just really, really was passionate about that book when I read it in January. There were some other ones that I really liked, but I was like, you know what? Wish You Were Here was something that stuck with me for a while, so I picked that one. But by the time we got to like March, I read Warbreaker and Words of Radiance back to back. Those are two of what I think are some of the best fantasy fiction written. You're telling me I'm supposed to pick a favorite between Warbreaker and Words of Radiance? I read Fourth Wing, One Dark Window, and A Promise of Fire consecutively almost. You're telling me I'm supposed to pick... I read everything from historical fiction to smut to fantasy romance to regular fantasy to sci-fi to rom-coms. The Elsie Silvers series, the Chestnut Spring series that I absolutely fucking love. And it's an instant buy for me. And it's, they're little romances, but they're really well done and the characters are really well thought out. They would have been completely swept under the rug because I read those the same month that I read Strange the Dreamer. And that's an incredible, incredible work of art, Strange the Dreamer is. So, in any other month, one of those Elsie Silvers would have probably been the book of the month. But I can't hold a candle to a piece of art like that, like Strange the Dreamer. So, it just becomes... Coffee and Lore cannot do a book bracket. I can't do it. I'm sorry if you were hoping to see one this year. I don't think it's fair. And I don't like being unfair to my books because you're not on the same playing field. You're not... So yeah, I don't think it's fair to my books because it's not the same genre. It's not a level playing field. I could possibly do favorite fantasy, a favorite romance, a favorite, like, of the different genres and do a whole book bracket for each genre. But I don't even think I could do that because, like I said, I read Warbreaker and Words of Radiance back to back, and those are two of the most incredible pieces of fantasy that there is, in my opinion. And I would never be able to choose between them, and they were read in the same month because either of those could easily win that bracket. So I just think I'm gonna skip this one. It just isn't for me. Maybe it's for somebody who only reads like 20 or 30 books a year, and has, maybe 2 or 3 books a month and can say, oh, this one was my favorite. But I can't. I absolutely cannot. We are almost halfway through the month. Well, by the time this comes out, we'll be halfway through the month. And I'm on track for about a 10 to 12 book month. These Throne of Glass books do take me longer to read because they are dark and they're beefy. And I just like taking my time with them. But yeah. So I am super, super excited about finishing up Throne of Glass. It's been on my to-do list for so long. And from there, I think we're going to move into some fun Halloween type books. I really want to read A Witch's Guide to Dating a Demon. That one is like high on my list of October books, if not the end of September. That could be the first thing I read after I read this Throne of Glass books. But yeah, I am really excited. So many good things are coming out. The One Dark Window sequel comes out in October. The Fourth Wing sequel comes out November 11th. So just a good time. And it's a good time to be a fantasy reader right now. I was talking to my best friend last night about kind of just some of the excellent fantasy that's coming out right now, especially with like really good heroines. And it's just, I'm loving it. I hope you guys are having an amazing Saturday. What are you reading? Tell me about it. Tell me if there's something out there that I am not reading that I should be reading, because I get so many recommendations for books, and I can't read them all, so I try to prioritize them. But please, if there's something that just really tickles your fancy and you think I would enjoy it, please drop it in the comments down below. Thank you so much for liking, subscribing, and caring what I have to say. And I love you all so much, and we will see you guys on Monday morning.